and this is where I think we have people talking past each other a whole lot. So the two types, the verbiage I'll use for them and how I refer to them in TTT, so if you in Twitter, I think too. So if you see me saying these words, this is what I'm talking about. So byline guest posts are what I call the traditional guest post, right? This is what the word meant years ago. It's very transparent about the author. The link is typically in the bio section, like the Mandy Woodruff version we looked at before. It might have in content links as well, but generally the bio section is where the link comes in. There's a clear understanding when you are linking to yourself, right? Like Mandy's bio, she was very upfront about the fact that I am the executive editor at company XYZ. What I refer to as stealth guest posts are not transparent. The link is almost always in the content, right? Because like as SEOs, we want in content links, ideally with our keyword somewhere in the anchor text. It is intentionally made to not look like it's you linking to yourself, right? So like if I go to a guest post marketplace and I buy a bunch of links, the phrase Ian Howells is not going to appear on any of those pieces. And these aren't even really guest posts, right? Like the name guest post came because it was a blog inviting in a guest author to write a post. And then their name would appear on it, or the owner of the blog would tee up the article and say, like, this week we have a guest post from blah, blah, blah. They're going to talk about yada, yada, yada. And then the actual content would show up. It is a guest writer writing a post. Like that is what the word means. But stealth guest posts, which is effectively what's being sold as guest posts now, almost never are they posted with that framing. It's generally posted by an existing author of the website and made to look like a normal piece of content, just another new article. So they're not even really technically guest posts, but that's usually what people mean. So if you're going out and you're buying guest posts, you're probably buying stealth guest posts. If you're doing a guest post campaign as part of PR, you're probably doing byline guest posts. And some arguments that I've seen on the Bird app seem to stem down to this, where somebody is arguing in defense of byline guest posts, saying that it's totally fine, and other people are saying guest posts are spammy, because what they're really talking about is stealth guest posts. And people are talking about two very different things and just talking past each other and arguing about it for God knows what reason, because nothing was ever resolved on Twitter, ever. Byline guest posts, to dig a little bit deeper, kind of what I just said, like they're historically posted under a guest author account. The two different framings of the link would be something like on the left, where like in the main body of the content, they're going to say author bio, you know, Avi is the co-founder of blah, 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 and they're going to give a little bio, or you get your own author account and you have your own bio like built right into the template. At that point, you're more like a regular contributor, like you're behaving like a real contract writer. Good for you. But you also have an author account at the site. And so you can produce, you know, more content. You don't have to go back and like email beg to get a piece of content placed every time. You get to generally just log into the CMS. For stealth guest posts, like I said, there's no disclosed connection between the site receiving the link and the person creating the content, the name of the person that's on the published piece, or the actual writer that was behind creating the piece in the first place. Almost always, you know, by design, meant to be published into the site by a regular author and just look like any other article, any other update on the site. And again, this is usually, almost always, what guest post marketplaces and link building services are providing when they say they will sell you a guest post. So with that said, when do I think you should pursue guest posting and when should you avoid it? So the biggest thing is knowing the difference between real sites and sites that are made and alive on the internet solely to sell links, right? That is, I think, the big, you know, first step on the decision tree. So I recommend going for it if you're very confident in your ability to sniff out stuff like this, right? And tools make it easier, make it faster for sure. So the screenshots that I have on the bottom of the slide here are an example site in the backlink portfolio of someone's site that got wrecked in December. And they asked me to take a look and like, hey, what do you think is going on? They have some problems that predate December apparently, but there was definitely some issues that look like were dealt with, we'll say, in the last link spam update. So the site sending them a link, one of the examples, has 1,500-ish pages. Looking at their sitemap, it's more like 1,200, and then they've got 300 pages across of like category archives, tag archives, stuff like that. That's indexed. The SEO stats on the top line are pretty good. It's a DR65, which is high. It's a DA31, SEMrush authority score of 30, right? So like it would kind of check the box and get into an inventory list on lots of guest post sellers. The problem is it can't rank for anything and doesn't get any traffic, right? So these are what I refer to as fake DR or fake DA. And I don't mean fake DR in the sense that this website owner intentionally went out and bought like one of those Fiverr gigs that promise to like spike your DR or whatever, right? It's not necessarily, they might have, I have no idea. It's not necessarily that though. I mean fake DR, not in any like intentional action, but in the sense that if the site was actually as authoritative as Ahrefs in this example thinks that it is, if it was a real DR65, if it was earnestly that powerful, it would rank for much more than 35 keywords and get much more than 2 visits a month, right? So the SEO stats for this domain and Google's actual opinion of this domain are worlds apart, because any real DR65 would actually be getting some traffic, right? So that's the real biggie. I think if you are not comfortable digging in and knowing the difference between, sites that just check the boxes on the high level SEO stats and sites that Google actually seems to trust, I would not recommend doing guest posting, because guest posts can be expensive, right? So like this can get very pricey very fast. The other times I would recommend guest posting, you're pursuing a bunch of different link acquisition strategies, right? So like you're doing some traditional PR, maybe you're building some statistics pieces and shopping those around. Maybe you're still doing broken link building, unlinked brand mentions, all like the kind of bread and butter link building tactics. And guest posting is just one of many. If you're completely relying on frankly, one method of getting links, that's probably not a good thing. But relying solely on guest posting is probably not a great idea. For byline links specifically, if you would benefit from writing that guest post without getting a link at all, right? Or a link that's no follow, like if you would knowingly do it. So like as a freelance SEO consultant, I would be totally fine doing a webinar for ClearScope or doing a guest post for ClearScope, because like their audience is a group of people that I should have an interest in getting in front of. So like, hopefully I say some smart things, and people in my target customer audience seeing me say smart things is a good thing for me, whether there's a link there or not, right? So if there's actual business value for you in creating that piece of content for a byline link specifically, when we're being transparent about who's writing it and where they're from, that would be a totally valid reason to go do a byline guest post. And then the next two kind of go together. So the other time I would recommend it is you feel like, I know what I'm doing. I know Google doesn't want to reward these, but the simple fact of the matter is, for now anyway, and for now will extend to some unknown period in the future, possibly forever, they are rewarding it. So I'm okay doing gray hat stuff or black hat stuff, however you want to label it. I understand that it's a risk reward decision here. I'm willing to spend the money or spend the time to go out and run these guest post campaigns. I know that one day they may not work, but I'm confident in my ability to get an ROI between today and the hypothetical day in the future where maybe these links stop giving value to me. So if you're very confident and you know what you're doing, go for it. I do not attach moral stances to link building tactics. Like if you're hacking somebody's site and whatever, like, okay, yes. But like the idea that some folks get very passionate and say that, like, guest posting is wrong, or breaking the Google guidelines is wrong. It's like, okay. I mean, I guess I do not personally attach the good, bad moral compass to like a type of link building, again, unless you're like doing illegal stuff and hacking somebody's website. If you feel like I know what I'm doing, by all means, go for it. I am not trying to tell anybody not to do guest posting. I am simply advocating, if you're going to do it, you should know what you are doing, and you should be confident that you are going in kind of eyes wide open. And I think, unfortunately, a lot of folks, at least based on the messages that I get, a lot of folks don't. Like, a lot of folks then are in my DMs going like, I just got crushed in the last Google update. What the hell's going on? Like, I've got, 70% do follow, 30% no follow, and they start rattling off all these like, shapes and sizes of their backlink portfolio, thinking that like that makes it okay. And it's hard to get those messages, because like these people are in a bad spot. Like, they may have very much been counting on the income from those sites, but it's also very hard to be like, you're going out there and doing stuff that Google has been very clear that they don't want to reward. So having the like surprised Pikachu face when they stop rewarding it is a weird thing. So clearly these folks did not fully understand what they were doing before they started doing it, right? And that's the scary part that I would hope this helps folks avoid, is really just advocating for, like, make sure you know what you're getting into before, especially before you start spending thousands of dollars purchasing these things. I guess it's a little different if the loss here is time, right? If you're doing it all yourself.
Now, if you liked this ClearScope webinar snippet, don't forget to share, like, and subscribe so you don't miss out on more great tips and strategies from the industry's best SEOs and content marketers. Make sure to check out the ClearScope YouTube channel for more great content.